think we got our history fucked up. And he was like, I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I don't know. He's like the Dark Ages and like that whole time period right there in the middle. We really don't know that much about it.
I heard the Catholic Church added a bunch of years to freak people out, and that's why you need to listen to us, is because we were in the dark for 600 years, but in reality it was like fucking 40.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say? About being in the dark?
It's just like, they call it the Dark Ages because it's after the Roman Empire falls. Oh, my game plays?
And how did those motherfuckers fall? What did ended up bashing?
Barbarians, honestly, illegal immigration. They allowed motherfuckers to flood into their country. It's true.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just their economy tanked, and it's just they had so much land. You can't control all that shit for so long. You're eventually gonna lose it, you know. But
I have no clue. And then the Dark Ages came after that.
But immigration was one of them. I know that because multiple videos I've watched about the fall of the Roman Empire. They usually bring up like 5 to 10 reasons, and most of them say not like illegal immigration like we have today, but you know, just so many people were flooding into Rome, and it's like the homeless and all this other, you know how all these illegals sit on the side of the streets and all this other shit? Kind of like that. God damn, where the fuck is that video?
Is the Renaissance after the Dark Ages?
Yeah, Renaissance like the 1600s.
William Shakespeare's fucking dropping bangers in the fucking...
Here you go,
It's cool that you guys know about this type of shit. Just think, like, there's people that know, I mean, I guess from the beginning, what we think is the beginning. From what we know of to be the beginning, to the Roman Empire, to the Dark Ages, to the Renaissance, and just everything in between, before and after, all the way to where we're at now. That's pretty fascinating to me.
Napoleon's the fucking man. Look into him. He's the fucking man. I like Napoleon.
What was Napoleon? Who was he with?
Napoleon.
Wasn't he the motherfucker that shot the Sphinx's nose off, supposedly?
Yeah, that never happened.
Well, that's one of the theories of why the fucking thing's not there, but like Tyler said, it's not.
And Napoleon Bonaparte?
Probably more than likely just erosion, because it's been there for thousands of years.
You wanna hear Hey, you wanna hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, so the pyramids, how do I explain this? Cleopatra was around 2000, well, like 1800 years ago, right? When she was born and when she was ruling Egypt, those pyramids is like how we view the Colosseum right now. They were that old then.
Wow.
So 2,000 years ago, they were looking at them pyramids, and them pyramids to Cleopatra were 2,000 years old. So how we view the Roman Empire today is how she...
Oh, that's what it is. We're closer to Cleopatra's fucking birth date than Cleopatra was to the pyramids being built.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I think I heard that on Rogan before, actually. But yeah,
it's crazy.
I've heard that.
I heard it on a short.
Let's see. So the Roman Empire was thousands of years ago at this point.
Let me think of something you could look into.
Like Caesar, really Caesar was pretty much like 200 years before Jesus, before BC, like 200 BC.
Who was Caesar? Was
Caesar? Yeah.
So the Roman Empire was before Jesus.
The guys that are making Jesus march with the cross. This is the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I said if you get into down a deep rabbit hole of the Roman Empire, you're gonna end up fucking learning about the Bible.
Yeah, because after Jesus died, a lot of like the Romans were like, "What the fuck did we do?"
Yeah, there was a Roman general that Constantinople might have been his name. He got a city named after him.
Constantinople, yep.
He the fuck was it? Oh yeah, he said he saw the sky split above him, and it was a cross, and that's when they turned the Roman Empire's religion into Christianity. Claims he saw it in a battle. He heard trumpets and he saw a cross split show between the sky.
Oh
And he had
my
heard
God,
about
what
this.
a shot.
Did you see that shit?
Fuck, you got him right when he was going over the top of that, around that rock
It's the
before
last
he
chance.
disappeared.
Yeah, it was the last chance I had.
Oh no, never mind. Yeah, holy shit, yeah.
207
There's like
meters.
a little boulder right there.
Yeah. I'm getting nasty with the sniper rifle.
So the Eastern Empire ended in 1453 AD.
Yeah. Constantinople, the Turks took them over, the Ottomans.
Yeah,
The same guys you can play on
motherfuckers.
on that desert map on Battlefield 1,
Yeah, the
Justin?
Ottomans.
Man, the greatest
Same
map.
people. One of the, yeah, I like that.
So I loved Argonne Forest a lot.
Do you like that shot, Tyler? Should I
Just
send
you need
that
to
Cody?
rebalance.
So
Yeah, send that to Cody, that was
yeah,
nice.
shit. I hadn't played it in so long. Hey, so are we considered 2024 AD? Is that how we would be looked at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the crazy
I'm
shit
gonna start
is,
calling it that.
Yeah.
You remember back in 2018 AD, bro?
Yeah.
you know the months we use are Roman. Like, the month of July is Julius.
Named after Caesar.
Named after Julius Caesar.
Do
July.
we know when we
And
started
August
that
is named
shit?
after Augustus.
Augustus, yeah.
And October is named after my car.
What else? Fucking childish.
No, but really, when did we start that
The
shit?
modern calendar we use is the Romans came up with it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're the ones that really. I mean, I guess we
The
don't
world
know.
we live in a Roman-built world. Calendars, days, months, time.
So they started
that
all
shit.
that shit that we know of, unless there were books that were lost. But regardless, so it was around that time. So like, I wonder the motherfuckers that built the pyramids and stuff. Like they probably called it something, but you know,
That's what I'm saying.
that's what's crazy.
There's no telling what happened all them years ago. Like Dalton said, the Library of Alexandria fucking had all that shit and fucking burned to the ground. So.
And where
Yeah, they
was
should
that?
have set us back like hundreds of years when we lost all that knowledge.
And that was in what city again? I'm about to look that city up right now.
Here's I heard a guy say this one time.
Wasn't that Egypt? Alexandria was in Egypt.
Yeah, it's whenever he, because he leaves his general back.
Oh,
Yeah.
that now.
So there's huge civil war.
Huge civil war. Oh damn! Can y'all hear him?
I can hear you.
No, he's cutting out bad.
Yeah, big time.
Static boy.
But regardless, we lost a fuckload of shit, and that whatever happened there.
Look
I don't-
into Tartaria.
Look that up.
It's like an ancient. It was basically modern day where modern day Russia is.
Tartaria tablet or history. Tartaria history.
Warmo did a podcast about it.
Oh really?
Yep.
Let's go to Patreon right
Yeah, Cody told me to look into Tartaria and Jason.
now. Actually,
It's fucking crazy.
I don't think I watched it, or listened to it, but I think is it called Tartaria?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called Tartaria.
I
It's
think I've
basically
seen it. It's on there.
where Russia, Poland,
part two.
Ukraine, all them areas are. And it was
Allegedly, it's how a lot of people learned to tame horses. They were the first
Yeah.
people to do it. Allegedly.
Tartaria.
Um,
Listening to the first one. Let me scroll.
And Tartaria has to do with the hidden past and what the conspiracy goes that what wiped out Tartaria was mud floods. Is what wiped them out. Was mud floods. And that Tartaria had this advanced technology and culture.
Hey. So, fuck, I gotta get this thought out.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, I don't know much about the, what is that place called? The Vatican. But don't we have, isn't there a lot of history in that place that they've stolen and taken from places? Or is there any truth to that?
There's like a library under the Vatican City, and it's like where all the Catholic Church keeps all their records. But also, it's like remember how we were talking about in the Dark Ages? They made all that shit up. People have said for a long time that if you want to know the truth, if the Catholic Church made up the dark, because right after the Dark Ages end, the Catholic Church becomes powerful, right?
Yeah.
And they become like top dogs, and that's how you get the Crusades and all that. And they're like,
Crusades were
basically,
justified, by the way,
yeah, I mean,
Crusaders.
King Bald.
because I'll say
You want to
this,
get into some crazy shit, Justin? That's something to look into.
yeah,
What is it?
because Crusades.
Crusaders.
That's the beginning of the Masons, the Freemasons. That's how far that history can even be like. You can see that shit being enacted on today.
Crusades.
Because the Masons start as the Knights Templar, and then the Knights
Yeah.
Templar get so much power, and then basically the Pope and the King of France sets a hit order out on all Knights Templar, so they go into hiding. How they're managed to keep their organization up is they create a secret group called the Masons. The idea was we'll hide under the idea that we're building.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause
Oh, doing masonry.
My dad
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Freemasons were just like average bros that just built like shit? They're just like regular masons. That's what I thought. And then like
my dad, I pissed him off one night. He set me down and he told me about the Book of David and everything.
okay, because I always thought it was
The
like
Morals
a
and
group,
Dogma. You
and
ever
then they
read
got
that?
infiltrated.
Morals and Dogma is crazy, dude. That's the rule. That's if you want to be a Mason, you got to read Morals and Dogma. I haven't read the whole
My
thing, but my
grandpa's a
dad.
Mason.
Yeah, my dad is. My dad's past master of the Estor Lodge and the Winchester Lodge.
Yeah, my grandpa was
And
the
my grandpa.
Winchester one.
Yeah, they probably know each other.
Black
Honestly, I need to ask my dad. I've never asked him.
Yeah, he was a Mason.
I've got a
But-
buddy, his stepdad's a Freemason, he's a black dude.
But
Yeah.
I don't believe in like the Mason conspiracy theories in like the U.S. and all that shit. I don't know. It's just a little bit too much for me.
33 of our presidents out of 47 now have been Masons. And almost all of them, but 3 people that wrote the Declaration of Independence were Masons. And you know who
Maybe I'm
Hitler
full
put
of
in
shit.
concentration camps along with everyone else? Masons.
Masons.
Yeah, he was
Maybe
terrified.
they
of
are bad on
He said he was terrified of the fucking Masons.
So is the Templars? They're good guys.
So the Knights Templar, what happened was they went over to the Crusades, right, and they fought. Well, the Catholic Church promised everyone. It's one of the reasons my grandpa didn't really like my mom. She's Catholic. But
What is the Crusades?
basically,
Muslim-
God
Are they
wills it. We have to go
assassins?
take the Promised Land back.
They're assassins,
can't let
basically,
the Muslim-
warriors.
Hey, here's if you want the dumbed down version, there were a bunch of fucking Christian caravans going to Jerusalem to see where Jesus was killed, and Muslim people were ambushing them and killing them and persecuting them, and then putting them on gallows ships. If you want to look into some gnarly shit, look up gallows ships, Mediterranean, like 1300s. And you'll see what they were doing. Christian slaves, the Muslims were basically enslaving Christians. Well, the Catholic Church is like, we have to stop this, so he puts out a call to arms in all of Europe, and a bunch of people are like, we're going to go fight for God and country. They go over there, they kill a bunch of people, but the moral of this, the Christians were getting killed. The Pope called for a fucking crusade to go rid the land of Muslims so Christians can travel freely in Jerusalem, or to Jerusalem, and that's basically that's the dumbed down version. It's fucking, it'd take 2 hours to explain it, you know.
Justin, I know something you might like to look into. It's American history, but it's fucking sick. The Barbary Wars. I think you might like that.
I've heard of that before, but I don't know what it is. Let's check that out, the Barbary.
Yeah, I'll find a video to send to you. Because I got into that for a little while. Go ahead.
My bad, Tyler. This is back to your point. The Crusades come back. It was either after the Third Crusade, after the Kingdom of Jerusalem falls and the movie Kingdom becomes the Second Crusade. The Third Crusade takes place. King Richard and all them go over there. Well, when they came back, everyone loved it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, y'all are the Knights Templar. Y'all are the guys. Y'all saved Jerusalem, or like y'all saved Christians in the Middle East. They're like, yeah. Well, there's this apparently, Knights Templar raided King Solomon's temple. Got a bunch of crazy shit from him, like basically a lot of treasure. So the King of France started getting nervous because all the middle class and lower class people loved the Knights Templar. They're like, that's my leader. They fought. They actually fought. They had a bunch of castles, and like Castle Itter, that was a Knights Templar castle back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy
Like
shit.
all those castles were like, because they had a shit ton of money, so when they came back, they built fucking castles and stuff, and they stayed in like a little gang. Well, the Pope of England, or not the Pope, but the Pope of whatever it is, and then the King of France were like, hey man, these guys got too much power, and they're really popular, and if they wanted to start a coup, all the peasants that live on my land, they're gonna kill me because they like these guys. So they got nervous of them, and then in one night they said, we're gonna kill everyone. The leader of the Knights Templar, I forget his name, but he got burned at the stake, and he cursed the Pope and the King of France to hell, and he said, I'll see y'all there. And he burned at the stake, and like less than 3 months later, the Pope, he gets sick, and the King of France gets sick, and they just die mysteriously. But so then they went and they hawked those motherfuckers down, and they were hunting them down. Well, the Knights Templar were like, we have to go into hiding, and we have a bunch of religious artifacts that we have to get out. And that's what the movie National Treasure, that's what they're talking about. Supposedly, the Knights Templar got them out and moved them to the New World. But then, they didn't get them out it wasn't like overnight thing. It was, they were looking for the Knights Templar. All the guys that were in the Knights Templar were like, we got to go into hiding. These motherfuckers are systematically hunting us down. We have to go into hiding. They go into hiding. How do they link back up? They come up with the alias of, we're Masons. We're stonemasons. We've never fought in our life. We're stonemasons. But it was a code to say, it's the reason why in the White House, on the cornerstone of the White House, there's a Masonic emblem on it. Because they built that. On the corner emblem of the Washington, D.C. monument.
Really?
The obelisk or whatever.
Really? So there's
pretty much everything in D.C. the Masons built when it all first kicks off. And George Washington was a Mason. John Adams.
Yeah.
If you look into it, it's a shit ton of dudes were Masons. But how it all started was they had to go into hiding because they were Knights Templar. So they came up with a secret organization. And they have a handshake. Like if my dad, like I'll be out in public sometimes with my dad, someone comes up to us, they'll always be, how are you doing, brother? And my dad will be like, good to meet you, brother. And they'll shake their hands. My dad never calls anyone brother. But if he shakes his hand, and they have a handshake too. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it. And you handshake with them, and then you call each other brother, and you know you're a Mason. My dad used to wear a ring that was a Masonic Lodge ring.
That's what my grandpa had, was with the G or whatever.
Yeah, and then you got the scale, the square, and then the square and the, what's it called where you write a circle in it? I forget what it's called.
The V looking thing.
Yeah, but that's what it's a 90-degree square. But no, it's to get circumferences and stuff. You use them in math class and geometry.
You put a pin in it.
But it's all like, that's
You draw with circles and shit.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what makes the V.
Square and compass.
Yeah, the square and the compass. And then that's because what it is you're building a civilized world. That's why the Masons have that in there. And then you're building a civilized world under God. That's what the G stands for. And then the compass and the square is how you build a building. So I'm building a house for God. I'm building a world for God.
Because I've seen,
my dad's
right. But I've seen something where, I guess the elite of the like Freemasons and shit. Like I said, I don't know much about it. But their meetings that they've held or whatever, just some videos that I've seen, obviously, for the public to see. They're like older guys and they're dressed in like white garbs. I don't know what you would call them specifically.
Yeah, well, it's all because they came from. It's because whenever they were in the Middle East, that's what all that. Because I remember my dad was going to be the master of the Winchester Lodge. I had to go sit at the Masonic Lodge up on the square. This is the same. Matthew kept telling me, he was like, I met AJ told me, not AJ Blackwell, but AJ Holman. AJ Holman told me there's tunnels in that one building that's a church up there on the square, and I was like, where is it? And he's like, across from the Oldham. And I was like, across from the Oldham, and you're starting to head down the hill, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, what did he tell you? I didn't tell him that yet. What I knew, I've been in that building, I've been in the basement and everything. But I was just like, what did he tell you? And he said, there's tunnels that go all throughout that place, and those people are up to no good. There's no goddamn tunnels in there. I'll tell you right fucking now, it's impossible. There's fucking water lines and everything going through the street. They can't put fucking tunnels in there. But on top of that, whenever my dad was going to be a pastor, or when he was going to be a master, because you can only, here's how they work too. This is how you know there's no corruption. You have a two-year term whenever you become a master in a lodge, and then you have to leave, and you can never come back. You can never come back to the lodge, and if you do come back, you have to start at the very bottom. You have to be the Tyler. What the Tyler is, you sit outside the door and you don't let anyone come in during the meetings. And then once they've vetted you through being a Tyler, then you can get in there. Then you can work your way up, the treasurer, and then they run for election. Throughout, all the Masons have to vote for you, and then you can become a master. But once you become a master, even if you went through it again, and you're like, I want to be a master again, you're going to have to put about 10 years in just before you can even put yourself up for election again. So it keeps corruption up. That's the whole point. It's not like I can run for terms back to back. And if I do run for terms back to back, I have to be vetted by a whole new generation of Masons.
Yeah, like, so
that I stay true to the code.
I just typed in on YouTube, and it's like 33-degree Mason or whatever.
That's what my dad is. He's a 32nd degree Mason. Yeah, to an extent, but it just depends on what you're, like the Shriners Club, you know, the guys that are, the old men that are ringing the bell and they're trying to raise money for kids and stuff. Like if you wanted to be a Mason, Justin.
Yeah, what do you have to
because
do
my
to be a
dad would
Mason?
hold these meetings all the time. They would go pick you up and they'd bring you to someone's house that said, we can run the meeting at my house. And then they talk to you. They ask you about your morals, and then they have a meeting where, so if that meeting goes well, they'll come to your house, and they want to see how you treat your kids. How's your wife?
Yeah.
Does she respect you? You know what I mean? Like all this shit that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's a vetting process because they want to make sure that you're a man of God.
You're not a bad hombre.
Yeah. And it's like a full-blown,
And you don't have like a
people,
criminal past and stuff like that.
Yeah, because my dad would tell me, he'd be like, listen, I'm going to cook dinner. You need to get you a plate. And he's like, if you want another plate, if you think you want seconds, you need to just go ahead and get it and carry it to your room. Don't come outside. And I would just sit in my room, and there'd be some random dude in our living room, and there'd be like 3 dudes I've never met before. That's how I met Mo Clark. That dude I was talking about, he's a Mason in Eston. And then he was on a committee that was vetting for people to come in. Like, even if you're a cop or anything, they look into all of it. And a lot of them, all the Franklin County Drug Task Force guys, Seth Isabel, Chris Smith, these are like some of the guys they're all Masons.
So what do they do in those meetings? I mean, I know you're not a Freemason, but you probably have a little bit of insight.
They talk about this is the reason why I know about TCB, the Masonic
Lodge.
Lodge.
We talked about that last year.
Yeah, if you were a part of TCB, because they would like look into it. If you're friends with Demi Binkley's dad and all those guys, you're not allowed to be in the Masonic Lodge. Because Seth Isabel and them know about how they're corrupt. You're not allowed to be in the Masonic Lodge if you're a part of something that's you're getting the job you're doing, like you become a sheriff to snitch on, like to be a narc for the drug people or whatever.
Right.
You can't, if you wear one of those TCB chains, you're not allowed to do it. If you're in a gang or anything like that, you're not allowed to do it. You have to be someone that's just normal Joe that is tired of that thing, and then you can do it. That's the reason why, it's like Matthew said one day, he was like, I asked my mom about TCB and all that, and she said she didn't know anything about that, and she said all those guys are good guys. It's crazy,
really
whatever.
Know them like that.
Yeah, well, she just works with them.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
But it's
She's
crazy whenever it's like, there's a guy in Drug Task Force that Seth Isabel's been pulled off many, many fucking calls because it started interfering with be taking care of business. Jason Eicher, he could never be a Mason. He'll never be a Mason.
Yeah.
And if he is a Mason, it's because someone got in, and then now the Masonic Lodge is corrupt, and they'll shut down the Masonic Lodge.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, like, whenever they left, like, the guy they got to build their Masonic Lodge was Jim Jernigan, and you know what he did it for? He built a fucking $200,000. You know how much money he bid the job for? $96,000. He bid the job, he had to pay his employees out of his own pocket to build the Masonic Lodge that's over there by Oasis.
Yeah. Damn.
They're honestly good guys, dude. I mean, granted, everything gets more corrupt the higher you go up the ladder, so I imagine the Masonic Lodge in Nashville, but it's pretty, well, the problem is when people are scared of them, it's the same thing they did with the Knights Templar. How they got everyone to be scared of the Knights Templar because they felt like they had too much power. It's because the greedy and the corrupt. So now they accuse the Knights Templar of devil worship. And you know, back in the fucking 1300s, you want to get the populace scared of someone, say they're doing witchcraft.
Really?
And then and it's funny that like everyone's like the Catholic Church. I'm technically Catholic. I was baptized in the Catholic Church. I went to a Catholic church whenever I went to Good Shepherd for a long time whenever I was younger. And then my mom was just like, yeah, you know, like, you believe in God, right? And I was like, yeah. She's like, all right, well, then we don't have to keep doing this shit. So we still go to the Catholic Church. But like one of the most corrupt organizations in the history of time. Maybe not now. And there's been times where the Catholic Church meant to do good and they were doing good. But there's also been times where they've been doing bad things.
Yeah, it's all, I mean, it's people-based, so you're gonna have corruption.
Yeah, but over, like, that's the whole reason the Knights Templar got there. That's why, like, I played Assassin's Creed 3, and my dad watched me play it a couple of times, and that was kind of one of the reasons he, like, fucking really was like, you know what, sit down. And then he started, like, telling me about the Masons and stuff, and he's like, we were persecuted when we were first in the organization. We were persecuted because they were scared. They weren't a corruptible source. These men were the type of men that were like, I believe in God, I'll go fight for God. Then they go into the Middle East and the Crusades and they fight for God. And they take Jerusalem back. They come back and the Catholic Church is worried because they're like, fuck, these guys are powerful. Like, they can fight, you know what I mean? And it's like, the mercenaries I sent there, they might not agree with the corruption I'm doing now. Now they're scared. So now what do? They tell the whole populace that the Knights Templar is worshiping the devil and stuff. And then they get persecuted overnight and basically wiped out, so then they go into hiding. Same reason, like all your famous dictators and stuff in modern day society, it's the same reason they're scared of the Masons.
So basically, to sum it up, it's a brotherhood, and to get into it, just be a good
Same
dude.
reason the Illuminati comes up with all the fucking, or if you believe in the, like I asked my dad about the Illuminati, he said they're essentially just bankers.
Yeah.
A collective of bankers.
Okay.
But if you think about who you're hunting down, you're always hunting down the Templars in Assassin's Creed. You're a banker, you got enough money. I'm gonna make a good game to get everyone to be scared of the Templars. You do some, you know, you get some smart kids that look into it, and then they're like, wait a minute, so the Masons started from the Knights Templar? And you're like, so they're bad guys. You know, they're bad hombres.
That's what I was gonna say, because when I first learned about them was the first Assassin's Creed game. In the first, they were in the first like 3 Assassin's Creed games?
Yeah, so you're fighting the Templars.
Yeah, they're the bad guys in the game. So for like my whole childhood, I was like, oh, Templars are bad dudes. And then a couple years ago, I didn't look into them, but I read something about them, and I was like, holy shit. It might have been an Instagram. You know those long World War II Instagram posts you send me where it has like 4 or 5 paragraphs? It was one of those, but it was about the Templars. And I read it, and I was like, hell, I agree with these fucking dudes. These dudes are the good guys.
Yeah, they literally went to go, they heard that Christian caravans were getting fucking ambushed. And then the Pope's like, fuck, you're right. I mean, a lot of my Christian missionaries are getting killed over in the Middle East and they're getting enslaved and stuff. I have to do something. So he called on the people there's like 7 different chapters of Templars. Same reason why you have different degree Masons. And you have the Shriners. and stuff. They're all versions of what the Knights Templar used to be. And whenever they all were getting persecuted and burned at the stake, that's what the church wanted to do with them. There was like the common practice was, I found a Templar, I found a Templar. Like, all right, get the stake ready and get some fucking oil, and we're gonna burn this motherfucker. Or not oil, you know, like fuel, flammable fuel to burn this motherfucker, and they burned him at the stake. So then they went into hiding under a secret organization called the Freemasons. And when people looked into it off the top of their head, it was just like Masons, masonry work. They're just building stuff. That's like that.
Yeah.
Like Paul Revere was a Mason. But that's similar.
Yeah, a lot of them fucking, like you said, only thing I really knew about the Masons was just quite a few of the dudes in the American Revolution. Like
if you wanted to read Morals of Dogma, TY, I could bring it over to you.
Yeah, bring it over.
Some wild shit. I've only ever read like 3 of the first chapters.
What is it called?
Morals and Dogma. You might be able to buy it, but
let me see if it's on Audible. Morals.
The book that my dad has is, he values that book very heavily.
And Dogma.
What book do they read?
Yeah.
Morals and Dogma. No? It ain't.
Yeah.
Hold on. No, that ain't it. There's one called Born in...
From his, I'd have to straight up ask him. I'd have
Yeah,
to
no,
lie
you're good.
too and say that you're thinking about becoming a Mason.
Oh,
It's the only way I think he'd ever let that book go away.
And what is that book?
Morals and Dogma.
You think if I tried, if I wanted to be a Mason, he would try to bring me in?
Anyone that wants, he's asked me multiple times if I want to be a Mason.
You want to be a Mason? Let's be a Mason.
Nah.
Come on, bro. It'd be fun.
Nah, I'm not doing that.
It'd
I'll
be
be the
fun
first
to wear our
Allen in
rings.
like 6 generations not to be a fucking Mason.
We can wear our rings and creep out like black Israelites and shit.
Nah,
It'd be fun.
I don't want to be a Mason.
Nah, no. I was joking.
Nothing against them. I think they're a good organization. I'd rather not be one.
Do you think Cody would join?
Cody would be a prime candidate.
You think he's the type of... You think if I talked to him... You think if I text him about, hey, when you get back, let's join the Freemasons, he'd be like, let me think about it.
No, I think Cody would be like, no, I don't want to be a Mason.
Yeah, I could see him saying, "Oh, fuck that stupid shit."
Damn.
You can do it. Fuck it.
Here, I'm gonna
Give us
text
some
him and ask
insight.
him.
Give us some insight on what they do, TY.
The meetings are crazy. They turn off, they'll like, there's a star on the bottom of the floor and it has a bunch of Egyptian shit on it. And basically all it is it's supposed to represent like the star that took the three wise men or whatever. That's where they really say they start from. Like the Templars, whatever they found in King Solomon's temple.
Do they believe in a god specifically, Freemasons?
They believe in God.
They believe in God.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
That's why their primary, like where the origins of their lore and stuff begins with the 3 wise men that guided Mary to whatever. And they use the North Star. That's why you see stars and the star and the pentagram, like because I thought it was a pentagram the first time I saw it. And my dad was like, no, that's the North Star. And the 5 points of the star are representing the wise men that guided Mary to the people that could, or it guided the 3 wise men to Jesus whenever he was born.
It's kind of like a sophisticated frat, kind of.
Yeah, that's literally, I'd say that's probably the best way to explain it, honestly.
It's the best way I can explain it. It's like, you know.
But they get corrupt, like you said.
Oh, yeah, like
people.
but that's anything.
Yeah,
you know?
like when I was asking that, I wasn't saying like all Freemasons. I'm just saying, you know, in every line of business, there's somebody that's corrupt.
Damn, it's the oldest fraternity in the world.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like in the Civil War, when so a lot of times the generals would link up for the battle. They'd be like, all right, shake hands. It's like the captains going out for football. That's kind of where they get the term or whatever. It's like during the Civil War, we'd do that. And people would link up and they'd be like, all right, we're going to fight. Let's do it. And then they'd get to it. But like when they'd shake hands, they'd see a ring on them or something. And it'd be like, oh, we're brother. And there's times where in the Civil War, or they went to the same military academy, so they knew they were Masons, they would stop the battle. Like Confederate and Union generals would be like, stop shooting. And they'd go out there, and if they knew the other general was a Mason and he had fallen, they'd bury him. They'd stop the battle to bury said Mason, and then
So
they'd
what was
walk
the
away and start
purpose?
the battle again.
You've probably already told me this. But what was the whole purpose of becoming a Freemason? Like just having brotherhood and shit like that?
In the very beginning of it all?
And now, beginning of all and now, yeah.
I think a lot of it's kind of like my dad just was like, no, you need to stop saying that shit. You need to look into it. And then he's like, well, the only way you're going to look into it is if I tell you about it. Then he tells me about it, and I'm like, these guys are kind of cool. You know what I mean? But I never did that.
But basically that's what it is. Just brotherhood.
Yeah, well,
Is
too,
why
if you
join it now.
I mean, to an extent,
companionship.
but also it's. Wouldn't you like to
They're
know
more of a
about some
criminal
sketchy
gang.
shit? Wouldn't you
How about
like to
that?
know about some? Wouldn't you like to know about some corruption going on in your town and everyone? Like it's powerful people there. Like you got cops and stuff that are in it. You got maybe there's a pastor that's in it.
Yeah, like if you're not on your P's and Q's, you might lose your fucking mind finding out about the corruption in your town that you had no clue of. Or in the world. It's crazy, bro. Why don't you become a Freemason?
You got to be a part of your community, and I like to move around sometimes.
I tell you to tell your dad that I want to be a Freemason. He kicks down my fucking door tomorrow. Alright, let's do it. Have a fucking meeting.
I mean, also, though, you meet everyone in your community.
Yeah.
The fuck
You
is
meet
this?
a bunch of people. Like, if you wanted to get a different job doing something else, you know what I mean? You'd know a lot of people that it would be possible. It'd be a lot easier. It's about making connections and shit, but it's also like, do I want to make connections with a bunch of people that don't believe in the same thing I believe in, or I can make a bunch of connections with people that I know are Christians. I know that they value this. It's like back in the 30s and stuff, the Masons were wild.
Really?
Yeah, if they knew about a pedophile or something, they'd go kill him.
Really?
They'd be like, oh, he's touching his daughter?
The KKK
Really?
was started because of shit like that.
Yeah, that was the whole reason Nathan Bedford Forrest started the Ku Klux Klan.
Because of shit
That's what
like
the whole
that.
cross burning thing was.
Yeah.
Like we'd burn a cross in your yard, it was like you've given up on God. And we're burning this cross in your yard, and you're either gonna stop what you're doing or you're gonna be on the cross next time. Like you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna burn with when the cross falls, God's left you, and now we're gonna go in. And then it got a little wild.
What kills me about with liberals and the KKK, they call people like KKK members and shit like that. I remember like 6-7 years ago, the Ku Klux Klan came to Chevyville.
They were an escort at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Nobody showed up, and nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And Estel.
I was just saying, nobody. The only people was there was the Ku Klux Klan dudes and the dudes that protest. Like nobody was there fucking supporting them because nobody likes them motherfuckers. But I was just saying that. Bitching about libs like I always do. What were you saying about the fucking
Somehow I was closer to home.
whatever?
Closer than ever before.
Well, it's just like Nathan Bedford Forrest started them originally as a policing
The
force.
FBI agent. Saga Anderson. I'm closer now.
Did it get started in Indiana?
No, Pulaski, Tennessee.
Oh shit! Why did I think it was Indiana?
Mm.
The clicker.
That's one
But
thing
We
that
can
we got, baby.
You know about the
that's why UT Martin's so like
I destroyed the dark presence last
kind of
time.
sketchy.
You can help. You can
Because a
find
bunch
it.
of your radicals will move
must
to Pulaski,
find it.
Tennessee,
I can get it to you.
just because of like.
Understand.
Problem is
Bad.
too,
Do
they.
I know the story?
Yeah, it's the same reason
Alice is
why
in
that
danger.
the museum
I
can't
have
show
to stop
Himmler's cigar
Scratch.
case.
I have to find
Because
Yeah.
like you get these radical
I need to get back to
jackasses
my
that just
apartment.
show up and they're like,
I'm writing a story.
I like all
to
the
get
tanks and
through.
stuff you got here, and I like the machine guns, but I
the
read
only
that
way.
you have Himmler's
The
cigar
story.
case. Where's that? I want to see that. I want to see that. It's like, well,
Yeah.
You can
got it.
find out.
Look at this machine gun, and they're like, no, 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 no. I want to see Himmler's cigar case. Is this all the Nazi stuff y'all have? Is it this one little corner up here with this SS uniform? Is this it? Is it? Where's some other Nazi stuff? That's why
I
a
watched.
lot of shit. Or what you said?
No, go ahead.
Well, it's just like, you know, you saw the SS chair that's at the museum, and it's in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, it's not even
Justin, you
on
need to go up
display
there.
in that room.
To that World War II museum they got up there. Come with me.
Where's it at?
I got to hold an MP40, a fucking Thompson. What else?
MG34
Yeah, I got to hold an MG. Was it
Andrew
34 or
Strike.
42?
is the 34.
I got to hold a BAR. And did I hold? No, did I hold the M1 Grand?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
you got. There was maybe one Grand out there whenever.
A grease gun, fucking Browning, 1919.
But if you wanted to, Justin, you can come up there. My dad can give you a little sneak peek of stuff that they don't show regular people.
Did I not send you those pictures, Justin?
I don't know if you did or not.
Oh shit, it was sick. Me and my dad, dog, we was up there what, like 4 hours?
Where is this
Yeah.
located?
Up in Swanee.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like y'all had fun.
Me and my dad went up there about a month and a half ago, something like that, and we went up there like at 12, and I didn't get home till like close to 5 o'clock, if not 5 o'clock. We was up there for a while, and Dalton's dad let me hold like the guns and shit, so I got to hold like MP40, Thompson, and all that shit. Because I remember when I first picked up the Thompson, I was like, this is not that fucking heavy.
1919s. You got to hold the A6. Remember that? The 1919 with the stock and stuff.
Here, Justin, I just sent you a bunch of random pictures, but they got like fucking like actual SS uniforms, like Nazi SS uniforms, and
They got a chair that was for the commander of the Nord Division.
Really?
oh, I know what I
Yeah.
was gonna say, Dalton. I watched when you was talking about like these radicals will go up there and just like steal shit.
Yeah.
After World War II, the radicals were finding where like these SS dudes were being buried with like their daggers and shit, and digging them
Yeah,
up
they'd
and
go get
stealing
their
their
Hitler
shit.
Youth daggers and shit.
Yeah, because Mark Felton did a video. He does videos about like, you know, SS top echelon dudes that died, and then like
Yeah.
always at the end of the video, they're
Is that a
like
bar? BAR?
had to dig him up in 1960 and move his body to an undisclosed area because people
Yeah,
kept,
they had to go put them in private cemeteries and shit.
yeah,
Who is this?
just random like Nazi like generals or politicians, and they would get buried with all their, you know, they'd have their daggers or a sword and
Where did
all
they
this
bury them all? Like in Germany?
random cemeteries of like Rommel was buried in his hometown. Just
And they
according.
dig them up.
They would dig them up
Yeah,
and
they'd
still.
go dig them up to get their fucking SS shit. Because they're fucking radical.
That's
You said it was a
crazy.
BAR?
Yeah, is that a BAR?
Thompson, the stand. Yeah, that's the BAR leaned up against the wall. That's a heavy motherfucker.
I bet, dude. Hey, and pardon my ignorance, no disrespect here. Are those, were those actually really used, or are those replicas?
No, they're real.
That's fucking wild.
They
Just
were
think
used
those guns were...
like those German helmets was what a German soldier wore. That
That's crazy.
outfit, that camo outfit, that SS outfit, some German wore it. Ain't that right, Dalton?
Crazy, dude.
Or is the outfits replicas? I know the helmets are real because they have like rust and shit on them. but I don't know about the uniforms.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
yeah, they
gonna
got
make.
rust. They got marks and shit on them.
But they got Japanese shit. They got Vietnam shit. Modern day
Almost
shit.
everything in there is the real deal. There's certain M1 Grands and stuff. If you see something more modern like Vietnam and stuff, and it looks like an M16 on a mannequin, it's a fake M16. But like all the World War II, it's like there were kids that kept touching everything on the mannequins.
Mm.
And so there's a lot of the M1 Grands and stuff that are real. They took those off because everyone knows what an M1 Grand is. So those are sitting in these safes. There's safes in this room in
And,
there.
yeah, they just make replicas, but they have the real ones in the safe type deal.
What else did your dad let me hold that nobody else got to see?
Who runs this fucking place? This is
I know the Panzerschreck, but there was some big ass gun. Was it that water cooled Browning that they had? Because I remember I
that
said,
was sitting
"Oh
in
shit."
that box.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was like, "Oh shit, that's what Basilone picked up and burned the shit out of his hands with."
Yeah. You're right. And my dad, yeah.
Because he had it in that room, and then he said he just got it in or something.
Yeah, all the stuff in that
It was on
room,
the
and
floor.
a lot of people don't get to see any of that shit. I don't think
Yeah, I
really
got the
anyone, unless you're friends with someone in the museum.
Bought me a T-shirt when I went too. I wear that motherfucker all the time.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing mine right now because I told whenever we were leaving, my dad was like, Tyler liked those T-shirts, or I was like, Tyler liked the T-shirts. He's like, yeah. He's like, I thought that was cool, and he's like, you have one? And I was like, no. He's like, I need to get you one, so he just grabbed me one.
Mm-hmm. Because I was like, I want to support the museum, and I was like, I heard y'all had T-shirts. So I was like, I'm gonna get a fucking T-shirt.
Here lately, I've thought about because that dude that said that he looked at me and you and he said y'all need to volunteer. Whenever I was asking about the Roosevelt's SS patch, and he's like, "Well, you need to volunteer and come up sometime." I told my dad, I was like, "Maybe I might start doing that." And he was like, "Yeah, you should.
I might.
You can volunteer
I
too.
might. Be fun.
You get to ride every Saturday. They take a vehicle and they start it up and they drive it around. So you'd be able to drive a tank or something eventually. And then they have the Veterans Day Memorial or the Veterans Day parade through Winchester.
Oh yeah.
If you knew how to drive like a stick shift, man, you could drive a Jeep.
Remember those Jeeps that they would drop down that they would, or is that
Come in a
bullshit?
box.
Yeah, is that bullshit? They would come like in a
No,
box,
yeah,
and
come
they
in a
would
box.
I think
They
Dalton
have
and
a
I talked about it.
display
It
out there
wasn't
where it
bullshit.
shows you it.
It wasn't bullshit, but the video was trying to say that they could build them inside like 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Same thing with the Sherman. If something fucked up on the Sherman, they could do maintenance right there. Because you gotta think America was sending their shit all the way on the other side of the world, so we couldn't bring the shit back to the factories to repair it. So we had to do in the field shit.
Pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm just fascinated about all that shit. Like, of course, I'm fascinated about World War I and II and all that shit. But then once you start talking about Rome and shit and stuff like that, it just gets crazy.
There's so much history because for the average Joe, I know more World War II than most of the average person.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, the
And
average people don't even know.
Me and Dalton talked about this the other day. Dalton knows more than me, and I know a lot. Cause
I don't know a whole lot.
about,
I know more than the average fucking person.
I say probably about 60% of the time me and Dalton talk about World War II, I understand, and I know about 60% of the shit he's talking about. He just knows more about like pilots and planes and all that shit more than me. I'm an infantry guy. I like on the ground.
I know a lot of shit about. I know a lot of shit about animals. That's my forte, animals. I know a lot about animals.
So what I was saying, I know a lot of World War II, and me and Don talk I learn about new shit all the time that I've never even heard of.
Yeah, every time you look into it, you're gonna find out something new about
And
it.
that's a 6-year war, 39 to 45, and that's just in 6 years. Imagine what the Romans gonna be, and that's 2,000 years.
Always.
And the history's shady on the Romans.
So they
Yeah,
did
If you
go to
want, if you
war with
wanted
the
something to
Spartans.
look into for years on years and wanted like credible sources on everything, World War II would be one to
yes,
go do a deep dive.
100%. I say if you really want to get into something, get into World War II. Because what also makes World War II cool too is we're still living in the
That's my dog.
There's
aftermath
still
of that.
first-hand accounts that you can go find.
Yeah.
They're rare, but you can still go find them.
And another thing I like about World War II is the politics of it all, you know? Because it's kind of like a lot of the politics that's going on then is kind of still going on now in a way.
Yeah, but also Ty, I would you know, sometimes we'll be talking about something, you'll be like, you have to tell me this shit because I'm stupid or whatever. Sometimes I think you knock yourself down more than I think sometimes you give yourself a little bit more credit.
Yeah, I try to, but I don't know. The problem I have is I know how to say it in my mind, but I don't know how to get it out with words. So I was
Yeah.
like, try to talk about something. I'm like, dude, I'm not making any fucking sense, and I'll be like, Dalton, you fucking do it. I'm retarded.
You know, sometimes it might make sense to the people you're explaining it to, even though if you don't think it does.
Yeah, because I give like the
You better chill the fuck out, nigga.
very simple explanation. That's
Yeah, but
good.
sometimes that's the easiest way to explain it to someone that's not even interested in it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good,
But
bro.
yeah, I know my shit for the most part. Because that's all I swear, bro, when I'm home alone, if I'm not watching a movie or playing the game, I'm on YouTube watching World War II shit.
Yeah.
Probably 80% of the time I'm watching World War II shit. Or
Hey,
any type of war shit.
I'm gonna
this is
try
a
to
good way
look
to
into the
explain it,
Roman
Justin.
shit when I have time off.
This is a
What's up?
good way to explain it. Me and TY have been talking about World War II. He was like, give me some good SS units to look into. And I started telling him about SS units, and he was like, why do you know about all these SS units? And I was like, I went down a deep dive of Eastern Front, and now TY is going down his deep dive of the Eastern Front. But it's just,
Gnarly shit.
you'll learn so much about World War II. There's a whole nother front. There's a whole nother war front that was going on the different side of the world, and it's like, all right, well, I got to learn now. You know what I
The
mean?
whole fucking world. The world.
Yeah, you
that
gotta
war.
like touch on all these things, and then there's like
What were the
sub-wars
Canadians
that
doing and
happen
shit?
within World War
Canadians
II,
were
like the Winter
fighting.
War in Finland. Now you have to go look into that, and then like you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm heavy interested into like the
North
Pacific,
Africa.
like yeah, or North Africa, or like I've been learning a lot about naval warfare. The Japanese subs were crazy, and you're like, well, maybe you should go, or like let's say you were looking into Pacific submarine warfare of like U.S. subs versus Japanese subs, and I'm like, what you should look into is the Battle of the Atlantic. Go watch Greyhound, and then go look into the Battle of the
Yeah.
Atlantic, and now you're learning about a whole different series, and it's always completely different. And then you're like, well, there's no way this is true. The amount of times that I've learned about something in World War II, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way
Yeah.
this is true. And then you
What was
look
that?
into it deeper, and you're like, this is my new favorite subject.
Remember that
'Cause-
shit you sent me the other day about like those Marines going at those Japs or something like that, or Chinese guys? You sent it to me. You
Yeah.
sent me a picture
Oh,
of
I
it.
sent
That
you
war.
the Battle of that's
The,
Korea. But I mean,
yeah.
Korea is basically the fucking aftermath of World War II.
Fucking
Yeah.
because that's what I did last year. Like I knew about the Pacific and like the major parts of it, but I did my fucking rabbit hole and crazy shit. The only ones I really are not knowledgeable about, the Western Front, I'm pretty good on. Pacific, I'm pretty good on. Eastern Front, I'm iffy. But like North Africa and Italy, like I've looked into it, but not really done a rabbit
Like there
hole
was
into it.
the 5th Rangers, and you can get their helmet on Hell Let Loose. They all got captured. It's the biggest defeat in Ranger history. And they landed on Italy, and they went too far on the northern flank whenever they did the Anzio landings. And this whole Ranger battalion basically got captured.
Damn.
Yeah, it's something to look into for sure. It's
See,
fucking
right there, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just like
It's a
that.
lot of shit. A lot of
But it's
shit.
fucking. It was like 5th Ranger Battalion. I could be wrong too, but it's a Ranger
Where
Battalion.
was this?
They basically got wiped out. It's in Italy in 1943. Whenever it's the first combat jump the 82nd did. That's why, like, you know the movie Overlord or zombie
That
movie.
zombie movie, I like that movie. I thought it was
Remember
sweet.
how they're all 101st Airborne, and then there's that one guy that they were like he was in the 82nd in Italy.
Yeah.
He did the first combat jump ever, and it didn't go that well. You
That
know.